What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Microsoft Flight Sim 2020. Today we're going to be flying the PMDG 737 from Denver, KDEN, to Las Vegas, KLAS. We're flying a real flight, which is United Airlines 368. Here is our flight path. We are flying a departure and we're flying an arrival. And the flight itself is pretty short. We have 3 waypoints, which is 2 of them are transition and 1 of them is just a waypoint. So it should be a very easy flight. It's going to be dark. I haven't done a lot of night flights, so I thought, hey, let's do a night flight. You know, I haven't really done a whole lot of them. So I haven't done anything. We can jump inside the plane and we can start our pre-flight checklist. First thing we need to do is get our parking brake on. We'll jump up here. We'll try and find the battery and we'll get our dome light turned on. All right, so with the dome light on, our battery switch is on, our electric hydraulic pumps can come on, and we can get established on our ground power. We could jump down here and make sure our landing gear lever is down. We got 3 green, and we can run our APU and fire warning tests and everything here. Make sure all of that is working properly. Everything looks good to me. We'll jump over here. We'll make sure these lights are working. Good. And we'll jump overhead, do our airspeed and our flap tests. And we are good. All right, with that being done, we can go back overhead. Our position lights and our wing lights can come on. Wing lights on, position lights are already on. We'll get our panel lights on up here. Our engine bleed switches are on. We'll get our IRSs on. We get our emergency lights, our no smoking signs, and our seatbelt signs can come on as well. Wrong way. There we go. Our flap levers up, speed brake levers down, galley switches on. Window heats can come on. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And probe heats can stay off. And we're ready to start programming the plane. In the meantime, let's get some of these panel lights on. That way we have a little more lighting in here. Jump down here. We'll get this one turned on as well. And we'll jump up here. We'll head to FS actions and we'll set our payload first. Our zero fuel weight today is going to be 106, I guess 107. 107. Go ahead and put that in there. We'll go back. We can clear out this message. Our fuel today, our block fuel is looking like 14,625. So we'll put that in there. We'll hit return and we're done there. We'll hit return. We'll go to FMC and we'll hit position in it. We could put in our reference airport if we want. We could put it right here. We'll go to next page, grab our GPS left, run back, drop it in there, and head to route. We'll drop KDEN in here, and we're going to KLAS. We'll put that in here. United Airlines 368. And we'll put that in there. We're departing runway 8, so we'll put runway 8 right here. And we'll head over to the next page. Like I said, we only have 3 waypoints, so it's TEHRU. TEHRU is going to be our first waypoint, to HVE, and to GAP, GGAPP. All right, so we'll head to our departure and arrival. We're going to be flying off of runway 8, the Baylor 6 departure. So we'll go departure, runway 8, and Baylor 6 to this transition. We'll head back over to departure arrival. We'll go to arrival. We're going to be arriving runway 26 left. So let's find 26 left, ILS 26 left. And we're going to be doing the Chow 2 arrival and the gap transition. And that should be all good to go. We can head to route. We'll hit activate. We'll hit execute. And we'll head over to our legs page. And we'll step through our flight plan here real quick just to make sure everything looks right. We'll zoom that out. We're going to fly a vector, so we're technically going to we'll just fly out and then we'll set a direct to our next waypoint. Make sure all of this looks right. All right, so we'll grab this one here. We'll go back a page. We'll drop it in here. There we are. And then it'll do that turn for us. Everything looks good to me. We'll head back to the legs page. We can go ahead and zoom this back out or set this back to map. We'll come back down here. We'll do our init ref. Our zero fuel weight again was 107. So we'll put that into right here. We did 1,000 in reserves. We'll get our cost index in a second. Our cruise altitude is going to be 30,000. And we need to get our cost index, which is going to be 5. And figure out what our winds are going to be at 30,000. So let me figure that out real quick. It's going to be 243050. 243/050. We'll drop that in there. We can go ahead and hit execute. We'll go to N1 limit. We'll fix that here in a second. Oh no, I didn't mean to do request. N1 limit. Takeoff configuration 1. We'll head to takeoff. We're going to do flaps 5, which will give us our trim 5.3, V1, VR, and V2 speeds. All right, let's get our MEDAR for here. All right, 200 at 9 knots, 10-mile visibilities, overcast is 6,000. Altimeter is going to be 3042. Altimeter is 3042. Let's go ahead and get that set. There we are. We got that set. Let's jump back down here. 130 is going to be our speeds that we need. So we'll put that in there. And I think we're done with the FMC. We do need to put some more information in though. So we'll go KLAS. We'll pull up runway 26 left. And right here we have our ILS frequency. We have our final approach course. We have our airport elevation. And we have our landing elevation. So we have to put this information into the plane. We'll start with airport elevation right here because we have to jump overhead and set our pressurization to 30,000. So while we're there, we'll get our altitude, which is 2181. So we'll just call that 2200. There we go, 2200. We can go down below here to our radios and we can get our localizer put in, which is 111.5. So we'll just move that up one, move that back, switch this over, 111.5, switch that back. Our final approach course is going to be 259. 259. 259. And our landing altitude is going to be, for ILS, is going to be 2269. So we'll get that put in our barometer down here. Unfortunately, I can't really scroll through this much faster than what I'm doing. I am holding shift, and I don't think there's a much quicker way that you can do this. If there is, let me know. But for now, we'll just have to manually take it up to 2269, which we're almost at. So 22 and bring it down to 69. There we are. All right, we have our landing barometer set. We have our final approach course set. We have our airport elevation set. We have our localizer set. I believe that's all we need on that page. We can continue ahead with our checks. We put this up to 30,000 as well. There we go, 30,000. And our heading is going to be departing runway heading. It's going to be about right there. All right, we have our flight plan programmed, so we can go ahead and start our before start check. So FMC programmed, flight directors can come on, 1 and 2. Auto throttle switch can be off. Our Mach indicator is set, our heading selector set, and our altitude selector is set. Our autopilot disengage bar is up. Our thrust levers are idle. Our stabilizer trim was 5.3, I believe. Yeah, it's right there on the screen. So we'll get our stabilizer trim set to 5.3 or as close to as we can. There's 5. Do about right there. All right, stabilizer trim is set. Auto brakes can be set to RTO. We can go overhead here and we can start our APU and get our APU bleed switch turned on. While we're waiting on that, we'll do our stall warning test and we'll jump down here and we'll put our TCAS into standby and we'll run a test on that as well. So we'll wait for it to say TCAS test pass. Once we get that complete, we will get off of our ground power and do our before pushback checks. And we'll get the engine started. So we're going to be pushing back here in just a minute. I do have the scenery for Denver, and I also have the scenery for Vegas, the FlyTampa scenery. Vegas looks freaking awesome, especially flying into it at night. So I'm definitely excited for this flight. I hope you guys do enjoy it for sure. Let's jump overhead, see where our APU is at. Coming down to about 5,000. We're waiting for it to hit 4,000 and stabilize, and we'll be able to start it. So we'll be on our APU here in just a second. This light will pop on here any second now. There it is. We'll go on our APU generators. We're now on our APU generators, so we will start our before pushback checks. Fuel pumps can come on. We're not using our center tanks today, so we don't need them. APU generator switches are on. Seatbelt signs are confirmed. Flight deck doors and windows are locked. Anti-collision lights can come on, and we can turn our logo light on too. And our ground equipment can get disconnected. So we'll head over to menu. Also, before we do that, let's jump back here because I forgot. At Chow 2, it can't do 250, and that's fine because we wanted to do 245. And we want it at flight level 190 or below. So we'll put that in here. This will recalculate all our VNAV speeds and everything. You'll see them pop in and generate in a second. There we go. Because earlier we got that alert that said can't 250 at Chow. So we have resolved that. We don't have to worry about that anymore. All right, we are good to go. Toggle that off. Anti-collision lights on. Ground equipment is disconnected. Did we disconnect it? I don't think I did. FS actions, ground services, release ground power, remove wheel chocks. And that will get rid of our jetway as well. All right, and we are just about ready for pushback. Let's figure out where we're going. Go KDEN, taxi, airport. We are right here. We're taxiing up to runway 8 here. So we'll go out here. We'll head to the right. We'll jump on Mike. We'll take Mike all the way up to the runway and jump on the runway there. That's perfect. All right, so I'll leave this right about here. We'll move this over. We can go ahead and call for our tug. We're going to use our left ignition today. And we can set this to engine. We can release our parking brake, and we'll get engine 2 going first. So there it is, engine 2. Start valve open. N2 is rising. Wait for 18. Feed it some fuel right here. 15, 16, 17, 18. We'll give it fuel. There it goes. We should be pushing back here in a second. There we go. All right, man. Under 15 minutes and we're already pushing back. That's great. We're gonna get out of here. I don't think there's gonna be much of a time lapse between here and Vegas. It's too dark. There's not much to see, so it's unlikely that I'm gonna have the time lapse in this video today. So it'll probably just go after 18,000. We can start our left engine. I'll just jump over to where the very beginning of our descent, so that you guys can just watch the whole departure and everything, and the arrival and everything. There's 18. We'll give it some fuel. There's our taxi line we're going to jump on right there. So we'll stop our pushback here in just a minute. All right, we can go ahead and stop our pushback. We'll give our brakes, and we'll put our parking brake on. Waiting for this to switch off, and then we could do our after start checks. We'll jump overhead here. That should click off here any second. And we will, there we go. We'll go on our engine generator switches 1 and 2. 1 and 2. We're now on our engine generator. Our APU bleed switch can come off, and our APU can come off. Probe heat switches 1 and 2 can come on. Yaw damper can come on as well. We'll do a master caution recall. We're good there. Engine and wing anti-ice we're not using today. Packs can be set to auto. Isolation valve can be set to auto. And we can jump down here and set our transponder to TARA. All right, our taxi checks. Taxi lights can come on. Runway turn-off lights can come on. Flaps can be set to 5. 1, 2, 3. Flaps are set to 5. We'll check our flight controls. Forward, backwards, left, right, rudder. We are good to go. We're ready for taxi. So with that being said, we'll go ahead and release our brake. We'll give ourselves some throttle, and we're going to be giving ourselves full right rudder here. And we'll jump on our taxi line, and we'll roll out to Mike. Take Mike all the way down to runway 8, and we'll get out of here. Scenery looks freaking awesome at nighttime. I love the night lighting they did here. Looks very, very good. Looks very realistic, as you can see. All right, there we are. Give ourselves a little more throttle so we can actually get moving. There we go. We'll get our dome light off here in just a minute once we get lined up on the runway. Although every time I say that when I do night flights, I always forget and I don't get our dome light off until climb. But I'm going to try and remember to get it off on before takeoff checks. We'll follow this taxi line around. We're going to zigzag just a little bit here. If you guys are enjoying this, be sure to leave a like, drop a comment. If there's somewhere you want me to fly, let me know. I'll look into it and see if it's something I can do. And if you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button if this is the kind of content you like. We're going to go ahead and keep taxiing down this line. I'm going to go to the overhead now because I am going to forget. And we're going to go ahead and toggle off this dome light. We don't need it. So we'll give ourselves a little bit more throttle here. Let that power kick in and get us moving. There's the airport. All right, and we're going to follow this around to the right, and we're going to go straight, and our second left we're going to make, that will be Mike, and that'll take us right up to runway 8. I'll definitely leave timestamps in here if you guys want to skip around and you don't feel like sitting through the taxi or, you know, the climb or anything like that. You could jump to the parts that you want to see. All right, so we're not going to make this left here. We're going to make the left right after it. And that's going to be Mike. So we're going to follow these 3 green ones here. There we are. Start a left turn here. All right, and this is going to be our taxiway. We'll give ourselves some more throttle, get ourselves down this taxiway a little bit quicker. It looks like it's clear skies. It did say there was a little bit of overcast, but I don't see a whole lot of overcast. Although it is pitch dark, I also don't really see any stars, so there may be some clouds that we fly out through here. I remember it saying something about clouds at 6,000 or something. So we're just going to taxi straight down. And right at the end of this taxiway will put us right at the hold short line for runway 8. I don't do a whole lot of night flights because I feel like the night flights are kind of boring for you guys, but if you guys enjoy the night flights or want to see more night flights, let me know. I'll usually include a time lapse in it. And we'll see, you know, maybe there will be enough content for me to do the time lapse. But the last time I did I think I did Vegas to LA or something. There was literally nothing. I mean, you couldn't tell the sky from the ground. The time lapse was kind of pointless. There was no reference of movement or anything like that. So it's probably not even going to be worth seeing it, but we'll see. All right, we're coming up to our runway here in just a minute. I think the United hub is right there, which is what we're flying right now. All right, and you can see where we are on our taxi. So we're coming up on runway 8 here. So we'll move that back over. All right, so we got to remember, once we depart, we're going to be doing a direct to. So I got to remember to do that when I toggle on the autopilot. That way we don't just fly in a straight line and never jump on course. I've done that before. I've forgotten to do that. All right, so our hold short line should be coming up here just after this right turn. It's kind of hard to see. Taxi lights aren't that bright if you ask me. I can see it coming up. So go ahead and start slowing down. There we go. And we'll hold short right here. Our before takeoff checks. Our auto throttle can come on. Our engine start switches can be set to continuous. Master system recall. Master caution system recall. Transponders on. Landing lights can come on. And strobes. Can't really quite see that. Strobes can come on as well. Which, there they are. We can see the strobes going. All right. We'll go ahead and release our brake. We'll give ourselves some throttle. And we'll pull ourselves out onto this runway. And let's depart. Let's get out of here. Let's get off the ground. Give ourselves some right rudder. Start making this turn. We're all lit up and ready to go. See the pappy lights over there. The red lights over there on the left. All right, so we'll stop here. All right, we're ready for departure. We'll go ahead and hit our toga button. We'll keep our nose down. We'll listen for our call outs. And start our departure. Cross check.
V1. Rotate.
Rotating.
Positive rate of climb.
And we'll gear up. We're solely instrument flying at the moment because I cannot see any ground reference. So we'll try and keep her centered, keep her level. We'll nose down a little bit so we can get our airspeed up and get our flaps up. There we are. Get her down to about 2,000 feet per minute. Flaps can come to 1. We'll keep this climb rate right here. We'll come back just a little bit. There we are. And our flaps can come fully in. There we are. We'll hit LNAV or VNAV and LNAV. We'll go ahead and toggle on our autopilot. We're back into VNAV there. All right, we'll pull our landing gear down. Our after takeoff checks, landing gear is up, flaps are up, taxi light switches can come off. 1, 2, and 3. And autopilot is on. Auto brakes can be set to off. There we are. Was a good departure. We're at 8,000 feet. We're going to continue climbing up. We were pitching for speed. We got up to our speed, and now we're climbing again. Not bad at all. We'll jump down here because I did already forget. We'll go to legs, and we'll set our waypoint direct. There we go. We'll start our right turn. Start looping around here. Not a whole lot to see. Nothing but like really farms and stuff out here, or fields. I don't know if it's farms, but it's definitely just fields. Coming up on 10,000 feet, so we could do our climb checks, which is our landing lights can come off. 1 and 2. Engine start switches can be set to off. Set those to off. Our seatbelt signs, we are stable and climbing, so we can go ahead and toggle off our seatbelts. And we'll continue our climb out here. We're pitching down for speed because we crossed 10,000, so we can speed up. Looking good so far. Here's where we are on our departure. You know, we flew out a little bit further than, you know, I guess maybe I should have, because I forgot to go direct to, but that's okay. It's not by much. That's totally fine. Even in a real world situation, I'm pretty sure that's okay. Because it's not that far. So we'll just keep turning. We'll make this complete U-turn, complete hook turn. Get ourselves back on track here. Like I said, not a lot to see. We will see some as we fly over and through Denver here in just a minute, which we're climbing up pretty quick. We're already coming up 13,500. So if we're not over Denver by 18,000, I will hold off to start the time lapse or whatever we're going to do to see if we can see some ground textures. Looks like we're actually climbing through the clouds right now. So if we get up above some clouds, we might not even get any ground textures. I don't see any stars in the sky as of now. It's just a black screen. So it does look like we're going to be climbing through some kind of overcast. And we won't really have much to see on the ground anyway. Continue our way up. Let's come up here. Wing lights we have on. Logo light. We can leave that on, I suppose. There's how the plane looks climbing out here. Like I said, not a lot to see. It's just pitch black. Climbing up to 16,400. Definitely above the clouds. We're not really getting any ground textures. Maybe a little bit, but that could just be a dead pixel on my monitor. I don't even know what that is. Yeah, so not a lot to see, but the departure went really smooth. We're coming up on our 18,000, which is going to be our transition altitude. Once we hit that, I'll jump in the window view. Starting to see some stars now. I'll jump in the window view and you know, I'll set it up as if there's going to be a time lapse. If there's anything interesting, I'll make sure you guys see it. If not, I'm just going to skip the time lapse for this video. Go ahead and switch over into standard mode, and we'll jump into the window and we will start that time lapse view. And I will see you guys when we're closer to the descent. I hope you guys enjoy the flight. All right, guys, we've begun our initial descent. And as I suspected, the time lapse was really, I mean, it was pitch black. You couldn't tell sky from ground, so I'm just gonna clip it out, as you probably already know, because it's not there. But that's why it's not there. But we are at 22,000. We're heading down to, I think we have to be at 19,000 at our next. Yep, 19,000. Let's get our altimeter, because we're going to be crossing 18,000 before we know it. It's going to be 29901, so it's almost standard. Descent checks, landing lights, we don't need them yet. Seatbelt signs, we can turn those back on. Seatbelt signs can come on. We'll get those guys on. Pressures and air conditioning, everything look good. Transition altitude, we'll do that shortly. Engine start switches can be set to continuous. And we could jump down here and we can go init ref and set this for our landing. We're gonna do flaps 30 degrees at 127 knots. We'll drop that in there. That's gonna, actually, let's jump back down there. That's gonna also generate our landing speeds. As you can see right here, 132. It's gonna be our landing speed. Right now we're on our VNAV path. You can see right here, we got 3 greens. Everything is pretty good. We're pretty much right on target. This bright area here, that's Vegas. So once we get a little bit closer, we'll start seeing everything render in. We're a little bit far for everything to start rendering in at this point, but basically right now we're just monitoring the plane and we're going to continue down our descent. Nothing really to see out the wing view, maybe a small airport back there. Pretty boring. But yeah, we'll be in Vegas before you know it, and I'm really excited. I do have the FlyTampa scenery, which is going to make Vegas look absolutely amazing. I've flown out of this a few times. I've flown into it a few times, and I absolutely love it. I don't do a lot of night flights, like I said. If you guys enjoy the night flights, let me know, and I'll do more of them. But I feel like they're just boring because there's not much to see in between airports when you're at such high altitudes. It's just pretty much darkness. So that's why I don't normally do it. We're coming up on our 18,000, 29901. We'll go ahead and set that now, which is pretty much standard, just one tick down. And we'll just continue our way down. Let's take a look at For runway 26 left, approach 26 left, our intercept is 3,800 for ILS. So let me move that back over. I have it at 3,000, so let's set it to 3,800. In case you guys don't know, right here in this section here, this is your descent rate heading towards the runway. So at Prino 8,000, LAR 6,500, Huxar 5,200, Shand 4,800, Raylan 3,800, and then by then we should be established and on our way down with the ILS. So that's how that works. That's how I'm reading that chart, in case you guys are curious. Go ahead and move that back over there. Just broke below 17,000. We're continuing down. There we are. Our speeds down to 9,500, 10,500. Speeds will start slowing down around KRLOZ and Prino. We'll be down to 210 by Prino. So hopefully you'll see the skyline render in hopefully soon. As we get closer, you'll see more and more render in, but not much to see on the ground. Maybe some street lighting, but again, like another small airport right there or something. So nothing too exciting. I'm gonna pull our speed brakes a little bit just so we can catch our speed here, because we're over speeding from what the FMC wants us to be doing. So let me just catch that up a little bit. Not by much. I mean, honestly, that probably doesn't even matter. All right, there we go. So we'll go ahead and release the brakes, speed brakes. Crossing 15,000 now. Now remember, we're landing at an airport that's 2,000 feet above sea level. So I think our altimeter is 2,000 feet from sea level, or is from sea level, not from ground level. So we're at about 12,000 now, ground level. But yeah, we'll just continue forward. Let's see where when we make this right turn, maybe even shortly before, we may be able to establish onto the ILS and everything there. But we'll get terrain turned on. Make sure we don't hit nothing, which I don't think we have anything in our way now. Mountains are they're not high enough to be any interference. No, but they're there. You can see them there. Can't see them out the window, just all darkness. We'll do our approach checks once we cross below 10,000 and get a little bit closer. As of now, we're crossing 13,000 and everything's going pretty smooth. Hopefully this is a good approach. Hopefully we start getting those textures in soon. I'm excited for that. It's gonna look really good. And we'll just monitor everything. Keep an eye on everything. We're about to cross our waypoint. There we go. So now we're 5 nautical miles from our next waypoint. Crossing 12,000 now. ILSs are set. Yep, we're good. Everything's good. I'm definitely excited for this approach. The runway that we're flying in on, we're going to have Vegas directly in front of us, so we're going to be able to see everything. It's going to be really nice. Our speeds keep creeping up there, although I don't think that's a big deal. It's not like it's speeding up a lot, so we'll just leave that alone. We are going to be decelerating soon, though. I believe these green circles right here are our decels. This one's a decel. So we'll see what happens there. There's our 10,000 marks. We'll go ahead and get our landing lights turned on. Still not much to see on the ground, but we're getting there. Starting to get a little bit of rendering in here. You'll see the whole city. Like I said, I have the FlyTampa scenery, and they did an amazing job on this scenery. We'll go ahead and arm our speed brakes, help us slow down a little bit. I think we're going to start decelerating here in a second. And we'll go ahead and release the speed brakes. And we're right at our target speed. We're going to come down to 210 once we hit this decel marker before preno. And we should be at 210 by preno. I do have our localizer here. So we'll start looking for our glide slope localizer. And we should be able to get established on the ILS probably sooner than later. We'll pull some speed brakes in. We're slipping a little bit above our glide slope, or our VNAV path, I should say. Let's bring that down. There we are. We're established back on the VNAV path. Release the speed brakes here. We set our auto brakes to medium. We'll do a master caution recall. We are good. So we have speed brakes, flap, landing gear, and taxi lights. That's all we have left on our approach checks. Still 3 green, looking good. We're gonna start a right turn here in a minute, and our speeds are gonna start coming down. We should start getting the scenery in here. I'm surprised we haven't yet. There's our speeds coming down, so we'll go ahead and hit our speed brakes to help that come down and maintain our VNAV path. We can go ahead and arm our approach. Oh, there we are. As soon as I clicked it, our diamond popped up, and we're gonna get locked right onto that. That's funny. That happened literally as I clicked it. We got locked onto it. All right, and our speeds are exactly where we want them to be. We'll bring these down to about 195, which is where we can introduce flaps and everything. We'll jump up here. We'll get our taxi light switches on. So all we have to do is arm our speed brake, get our landing gear down, and get our flaps fully extended. We're not ready to fully extend them, but that's all we have left on our approach checks. So we are already locked onto our glide path. And we'll be locked onto the localizer in a second. I'm surprised the city hasn't rendered in yet. I'm telling you, it's going to render in any second now. Or any minute. There we go. We got the runways in sight. We're locked onto our localizer. We're on our glide path. We're at 6,700 feet. We'll add in some speed brakes, help our speeds come down. Once our speeds are down, we'll introduce our flaps. We're going to drop our landing gear relatively soon. We're moving a little bit quick, so I'm trying to slow us down here. There we go. There's the scenery. Now you can see it. So I'm just trying to slow us down so that we can get everything going. We got to drop our gear. We got to get our flaps set. We're at 207 knots. We want to get down to 195 knots. Everything's looking good so far. Go one notch of flaps. And once we hit 195, we can go flaps 5. Is it 195? I think it's 195. Yeah, 195. We can go flaps 5. So we can go flaps 5. We go ahead and drop our gear now. Get our speeds down even more. Get them down to about 145. Our landing speeds are 132. Beautiful, man. Look at this lighting. Look at Vegas. Look at everything. This looks so good. All right, and we can actually go full flaps now. 2, 3, 4. Click that 4 times. I think we need to click it one more time. We'll let them extend. Let our speeds continue coming down. And our flaps are good. As you can see, we're flaps 30. Flaps are green. 2500 call out. We're still on our glide path. Our speeds are looking good. We're actually going to bring our speeds down more. We'll bring them down to 132 where they're supposed to be. We slipped above our glide path a little bit. We'll keep our speed brakes on just to get our speeds down, and that way we can continue to catch up with our glide path. I mean, we're on it. We're just like slightly above it. All right, speeds are looking good. Don't want to let our glide path slip away too quick or too far. Yeah, we're good to land. We're fully configured for landing. Looking good. We'll release our speed brakes. We'll go ahead and arm them. Let's see. We got all red for some reason. I guess we're too low apparently. Everything's awesome out here. Looks absolutely awesome. Well, we're right on our glide path, so I don't know why the PAPI lights are saying that we're too low.
Glide slope.
Yeah, we're right on it, so I don't know what the issue is. We can go ahead and go into manual mode. Yep, I know. All right, so we're going to bring it up a little bit. That way we don't sink too low, because we're sinking a little bit here for some reason. I don't know why, because we were locked on the glide slope, so I don't know why it was sinking us. And there we are. We're back onto it a little bit here. Nose down. I am now hand flying it. There's one last wing view. Got to keep an eye on this descent rate here. All right, there we go. We got to move over to the left. We'll nose down just a little bit, slipping off of that path here. All right, we still got 2 white, 2 red. We're ready to set our reversers. We're lined back up. Continue coasting this right on down.
$100, $50, $30, $20, $10.
And we are down. We'll go full reversers. There we go. Having trouble getting it over to that center line. And there we are. We'll get our reversers off. Not too bad. I don't know why we slipped off the glide slope the last minute there. I mean, our indicators were saying we were on it, but the PAPI lights were saying that we were off of it. So I don't know if that's just a Microsoft Flight Sim issue, or, you know, if we actually, I don't know, slipped off it or had a setting wrong or something. I don't know. But welcome to Vegas. Not a bad landing. We'll go ahead and stop here, hold short. Man, Vegas looks awesome out there. Oh, that was abrupt. All right, go ahead and stop it. We can turn our terrain off. We no longer need that on. And we will do our after landing checks. So first thing we can do is the landing lights can come off. We'll head over here. Strobe lights, we'll get our dome light on actually, because I can't really see. Strobe lights will get set to steady. Nope, go down. There we go. Taxi lights on. Or wait, they already were on. What am I doing? Flaps we can get set back to normal. We'll do that. Flaps or speed braking can be set back to normal. Engine start switches can be set to off. And our APU we can start and open our APU bleed. Jump down here. We can set our TCAS to standby. All right, just figure out where we're taxiing here. We'll go ahead and jump on our Oh, not Denver. What am I doing? Our taxi chart. Oh, perfect. All right, so we'll just follow this one around to the right, and we'll taxi to the Bravo gates. All right, that looks good to me. We'll go ahead and release our brake. We'll go ahead and give ourselves a little bit of throttle. There we are. Man, that scenery looks awesome. Drop a like if you like that scenery, if you think that looks as good as I think it looks. All right, so we'll taxi around to the right here. Like I said, man, the perfect runway to land on. We're going to be taxiing literally directly at Vegas. I couldn't ask for a better view taxiing in here. Looks like our APU is ready. So we're going to go ahead and cross this runway. 8 left, 26 right. You can see our gates over there. That's where we're going to taxi to. All right, get ourselves across that runway. Man, that scenery looks awesome. So we're going to taxi over to there. We'll follow this up. We'll make a right there and follow that over. All right, we'll slow down. We're gonna make this right turn here. We're gonna follow it twice to the right. Now we should see a taxi line. Let's see. We can taxi right up to this guy right here. We're gonna move in right there. I can't see the taxi line though, so I'm not sure. I'm heading towards it. Yep, we're going right towards it. We're good. We'll just slowly taxi our way over here. Right into this gate here. And then we'll do our shutdown checks. Our parking checks. Alright, so we'll just keep pulling in here. There we are. Go back into that wing view. That looks awesome. Start slowing down a little bit here. Man, this scenery looks so good. All right, and we will go ahead and stop right here. And we'll toggle our brake on. We'll jump back up front. We'll get our taxi lights off so we're not blinding everybody inside the terminal there. And we'll start with our parking brake is on. We'll jump up here. We'll get our seatbelt signs can come off. No smoking can come off. Our APU is started, so we'll get on our APU generators. We'll jump down here. We'll get our fuel cutoff valves or fuel cutoffs. Cut the fuel. And we'll jump down here. We'll go menu. FS actions, ground services. We'll set the wheel chocks. We'll request the ground power. We'll change this to jetway. Once that's established, we'll request our jetway, which is right there. Shouldn't have any problem getting. As soon as we're established there, after we request the jetway, we'll establish the plane on ground power. There we go. So we'll go overhead and we'll get on our ground power. We'll get our full dome light on now so we can see. All right, so APU can come off. Our bleed switches can be closed. Off, off. Everything can basically be turned off. Our packs can be set to off. Isolation valve can be set to open. Probe heats can come off. Window heats can come off. Oh, that's the wrong one. Yaw damper can come off. Fuel pumps can come off. Anti-collision lights can come off. We'll toggle our logo light on. We'll even toggle on our wheel well lights for the guys underneath. We'll set our ignition back to both. And that is our turnaround state. So there you are. Welcome to Las Vegas. If you guys enjoyed this flight, be sure to leave a like, drop a comment. If you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. If you like this kind of content, definitely share it if you know anybody that might like this video. And Leave a comment if there's anywhere you want me to fly. I'll look into it and see if it's something I can do, and I'll catch you guys on the next flight.